All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get airborne for our abbreviated full throttle training session today. Obviously, a very somber day in our country, in our nation's capital, with the funeral of George Herbert Walker Bush. Obviously, American hero, flew combat missions, got shot down World War II, and served his country in many other roles after that. I just got a text from a buddy of mine. So Proton. I went through flight school with Captain. That's what's funny is when buddies of mine make higher rank, I just kind of laugh because I'm like, I used to drink with that dude. But Proton is leading. He's the commander of the Strike Fighter Wing Atlantic, and he's going to be leading a 30-plane flyby missing man formation for the president, which is pretty cool down in College Station, Texas. So going to be very, very cool. Very proud of my buddy Proton for leading the this missing man formation, 30 F-18s, including the squadron that President Bush flew in World War II. So very, very, very cool. And the man's going to be missed. It's it kind of sucks that we like people. Seems like the media and folks on the other side of the aisle like Republicans, unfortunately, when they're dead. But history will be kind to this man. He oversaw the peaceful collapse of the Soviet Union, and guided us through some pretty tough times. I'm proud to say that the commission hanging on my wall right there is signed by President Bush. So cool. Obviously, folks, the market is closed today for this National Day of mourning. So what I wanted to do, actually, let's just kind of go through our flight schedule here so we can get everybody up to speed. Some administrative items. Tomorrow, we'll take a look at the flight schedule for the rest of the week. We're going to do a 1 o'clock live trade brief tomorrow, and then we're going to finish, we're going to wrap up Friday morning at 10 a.m. because my son Jack and I, big week, Army-Navy week, so we're going to be flying up to Philadelphia to go to the Army-Navy game. So that'll be the schedule the rest of the week. If you didn't watch our welcome aboard brief, here's where all the replays are posted. The welcome aboard brief, that's a must watch. I go through our trading methodology here at Top Gun Options and our 7-step trade plan. Same type of checklist I use over the skies of Iraq, I use in my trading. So that's in that welcome aboard brief. And then yesterday we had a really cool session, the primary live trade brief. We closed a nice one-day spread on FXI, a bearish weekly options trade. So we did a weekly options brief on Monday. That was for members only. You bet. Whoever just asked that. Here's the link. So down here in the little chat box, I'm going to put this is the link to the replay page. So you can go watch what we did yesterday, and you can go watch, like I said, the welcome on board brief. So really nice trades yesterday. One-day bearish trade on China, also a one-week bearish trade on Raytheon, our defense pick. So we're going to cover some of that stuff today. We're going to cover. I actually want to break from vertical spread training, and I actually want to do a synthetic stock today. So that's what we're going to do. Let me just cover the flight schedule, and then we'll get airborne here. But yeah, very, very somber day. I mean, you can see the love that his son had for his father, and obviously got choked up a little watching that as well. So Monday, you should have been watching that welcome aboard video. If this is your first session, I know some of my strategic partners emailed yesterday and today, so this might be your first brief. So go watch that on the replay page. It's in the chat box. I'll put it in this little question box as well, the link to watch that. It is a must watch, so you can get a little bit of my background, my biography, and how our strategic, operational, and tactical methodology and training. Yesterday, we did the primary live trade brief. Obviously, today, as we all know, the market's closed. I'm going to take a look at a synthetic stock trade, especially with the market swoon yesterday, which we absolutely predicted. And I think we're going lower. I know the futures have recovered, mainly because the president has tweeted out some stuff, but we're not even. This thing's not even close to being over with China and the market volatility. So tomorrow at 1 o'clock, we're going to do AR, our accelerated retirement portfolio. So that's our more conservative portfolio that we trade here at Top Gun Options, a little bit more longer term focused, and that's one of the trades I'm going to cover today. We're going to open 50 slots tomorrow, 50 annual slots, and hopefully we'll grab all those. If there's still some slots available by Friday, we'll open those to monthly people who want to give us a test month to month there. And like I said, 10 a.m. on Friday, we'll do Analyze Your Trade and Debrief, and I'm going to hop on a plane there with my boy Jack and get airborne to Philadelphia. If this is your first brief, real quick, my name's Matthew Buckley. My call sign's Wiz, founder and CEO here at Top Gun Options. Flew the F-18 Hornet for 15 years for the Navy, graduated from the Navy Fighter Weapons School, which many of you know is Top Gun, and I was also a bad guy. I was at Top Gun. I became an adversary, so we'd paint our aircraft like former Soviet, Union MiGs. We'd fly their tactics against Russian or Navy and Marine Corps squadrons and make them better. Right? The toughest flying that I've done in my career was at Top Gun. It wasn't over. Iraq was boring, to be honest with you. I mean, landing back aboard the ship and going through Top Gun. We're tougher on ourselves in training, so any real foe we meet out in the world is kind of a letdown, to be honest with you. Got to fly in a jet, bad guy jet over Pakistan. Got to fly with the Blue Angels. And when I wasn't flying, I was on the back of the ship. This guy right here with that squared away looking haircut, that's me. I was an LSO, a landing signal officer. So I'd be on the back of the ship day, night, helping my fellow aviators land safely back aboard the ship. So that was pretty cool. And that's me flying back to the Abraham Lincoln. If you ever wanted to know what the Persian Gulf looks like, check this out. This is it. That's Iran. This is Iraq. That's Kuwait. That's Kuwait City. There's an aircraft carrier like out there somewhere. That's how tiny the Persian Gulf is. If before the first Gulf War you had asked the U.S. Admiral if he would ever sail an aircraft carrier through the Straits of Hormuz into the Persian Gulf, they would have laughed at you and thought you were crazy. So today, at one point in the height of, Operation Iraqi Freedom, we had 5 aircraft carriers in the Gulf, and you could have walked probably literally across the Persian Gulf on steel. So it was pretty cool. And I flew 44 combat sorties over Iraq. Always, my parents raised me service above self. One of 6 poor, lower middle class Irish Catholic kids. Always interested in finance. My dad he'd be in there in his coat and tie, getting ready to go to work in the morning. I'd be looking at the back of the Atlantic City Press and, hey, what are those things, Dad? Well, those are stocks, son. And here's McDonald's. If you buy a Happy Meal today and you own the stock, it might go up. So always interested in finance, and you don't join the military, obviously, to become rich. You join to serve your country. So I taught myself how to trade equity or actually stocks. And then I found out what these things called options were, and I've never looked back. And all the methodologies that you're going to learn here when you become a member here at Full Throttle at Top Gun Options, that was really cool. Twice today, first of all, President Bush, his son said my dad had 2 settings. Either it was full throttle or it was idle or off. So that was pretty cool. And then the pastor who gave the eulogy also said the same thing. He's like, he lived his life at full throttle, which I'm going to help you guys to do, hopefully. So I popped up on the radar of one of the largest options trading firms in the world, based there in the Chicago Board of Trade. I helped build a hedge fund when we were there. That's our trading floor. I helped build a retail brokerage that many of you know as Options House, which today's E-Trade. And I felt like Eddie Murphy in trading places. I was this lowly retail trader, but I got to be honest with you, man. Once I saw behind the curtain, those people put their pants on the same way you do. As a matter of fact, I think in many ways we're a hell of a lot smarter than that smart money, right? We predicted that Trump was going to win, the market would rally. We predicted the FANG, the technology stocks were going to implode under their liberal hubris. All that stuff's coming true, man. So I ran essentially helped run a $2.5 billion firm up there in Chicago. And I was also the founder and CEO of the Options News Network, ONN.TV. Many of you remember that. We were kind of the CNBC for options. I know John and Pete Najarian from Chicago, they try and do some good work with options on CNBC, but we were the web site dedicated to no kidding options and had a blast. But I got to be honest with you, no offense to anybody from Chicago. You can keep the weather. Steaks are good. People are good. The wine's good. But walking from the Board of Trade to the train station in February was like a survival situation. So I decided to move down with my squadron to South Florida and start Top Gun Options about 8 years ago. So going on 8 years in business, and that's my squadron right there. All right. Quick intro. We're done with that. Now let's talk some turkey here. When you become a member, I'm going to brief you on the sectors that we're targeting all the way out to January of 2021. So I'm going to show you a tactic today that you can get bullish on a stock, an ETF, something that you like about 2 years into the future. That's and the leverage of options instead of buying stock, right? Why would you buy if you had to buy 1,000 shares of Apple? Well, yeah, I wouldn't do that. 1,000 shares of Amazon, you need like one point whatever $1 million instead of controlling that same amount of Amazon shares for 2 years. It's an option, right? Why buy the cow when you get the milk for free? That's what options empower you to do. But when you become a member in a couple weeks, this week, but in a couple weeks, I'm going to give us an updated sector brief. These are the sectors that we're targeting in 2019, long term. Services, you have got to be bullish on Amazon, period. I know it's getting a little bit of a shellacking lately, and the president, again, poking Jeff Bezos and the U.S. Postal Service saying, hey, man, your days of riding on the U.S. taxpayer are over with. If you don't think Jeff Bezos has planned for the U.S. Postal Service cracking down on him, you're an idiot. I reported 2 years ago that Amazon leased 5 of its own aircraft, and they're building their own hub. They are going to, if you're Jeff Bezos, why do you want to use the U.S. Postal Service, FedEx, or UPS? Why don't you make your own FedEx, UPS, Postal Service? So we're bullish on Amazon, but today we're going to use the XLY, and I'm going to talk to you in a couple minutes about using the XLY instead of Amazon. Why? Because I think if all of us in this room put like $20 into the kitty, maybe we could do one contract in Amazon. It's just a very expensive stock. So, and Jeff Bezos has already said he's never going to split the stock. So instead of, all of us kind of pulling our money together to maybe do one contract bullish out a couple years, we're going to use a good proxy for Amazon called the XLY. And I'll explain that in a little bit. But this is the preview of the sectors we're going to be targeting. This is new. This is a change. If you haven't joined TGO yet, it's not new. This is all new, but this is an updated sector that we're going to be targeting in 2019. We want to be the house. We want to trade and get bullish on the house. What do I mean? CME Group. Their trading volumes for the past 2 months have gone through the roof. People are buying and selling and getting out and nervous and this and that. The commissions are going nuts. They are printing money. I used to work at, I know the CME Group very, very well. Know a lot of folks still up there. Sinstock. The Sinstocks had a great rally the other day. A little bit of good news out of Macau and the China numbers. And if we get a trade deal done with China, obviously these stocks are going to get a lift as well. So our Sin pick is MGM. Defense, Raytheon. We talked about this yesterday. Make sure you watch the replay. The link is in the chat box. Long-term bullish on Raytheon, short-term bearish. Okay, the defense stocks are under pressure, especially with the liberals and some Republicans frothing at the mouth to kind of end that Saudi Arabia arms deal because, God forbid, they did something barbaric to a dude. Last time I checked, 15 Saudi Arabians killed 3,000 Americans. And we didn't go to war with them or end our partnership. So forgive me for not shedding a tear over that. Apparently, if you write a couple op-eds for the Washington Post, you're a journalist. And if that's the requirement to be called a journalist, I hereby label myself as the emperor of all media in the world. Obviously, a brutal and horrific crime, but what are you going to do? There's a good article in the Wall Street Journal today about FDR. FDR was in bed with Stalin in World War II. The dude was slaughtering millions of Russians. I mean, there's a saying, one man's death is a tragedy. A million people's death is a statistic. Stalin said that. So really kind of, it's not a big, I was a Lindsey Graham fan during the Kavanaugh hearings. Now he's, what do you want us to do? Do you want us to go to war with Saudi Arabia? First of all, he wasn't even a U.S. citizen, so don't even get me started, man. Anyway, defense. The reason I like Raytheon and not General Dynamics, a Lockheed Martin, a Boeing, whatever. I flew a Boeing product, folks, for 15 years, but I sat behind a Raytheon product, a big old radar. That's why I'm losing my hair. So Raytheon, it's the guts in a ship, in a submarine, in an aircraft carrier, or in aircraft. So we'll talk about when you become a member, Raytheon, and the positions I put on. Finance, I got out of the blue bloods about a year ago. Ditched J.P. Morgan, Goldman Sachs. They had a rip your face off rally after the election. We had people in this room who did one of my trades that were up $150,000 in a single trade on Goldman Sachs. Done with those. Instead of being in the blue blood banks, We're going with Visa. That is our long-term January pick. Transport. Obviously watching this, the service, you think we'd have a little bit of a spirit of bipartisanship. Hopefully it doesn't last just today. It goes a little bit longer. Why am I talking bipartisanship? Trump and even the Democrats want to do what? Fix our infrastructure. So our transport play going forward is CSX, big rail. Love CSX. It's also not that I invest following that guy, Warren Buffett pick. And finally, I might even ditch the term Captain Kirk, because you always want to have one position in your portfolio that's just kind of boldly going where no man's gone before. That's why we call it Captain Kirk. My two Captain Kirks right now, and one of them I don't even think should be Captain Kirk, but one of them will be FXI, right? Well, Wiz, I thought you were shorting the hell out of China. I am. But we're going to get something done, folks. Reading, the president before he went to the National Cathedral, he's blasting out tweets about, maybe I'm naive. Did you see that tweet? It's like he led with, well, maybe I'm naive, but I believe every word that China says. I'm like, dude, when you start a tweet with, or say, I don't want to be rude, or, I don't mean to offend, it means guess what's coming. And he does sound naive. My point being is FXI, we can get long-term bullish out to Jan 21. I'm probably not going to do it yet because we do have 90 days to work on this deal. So we're going to get bullish eventually on FXI because I've been saying this for the past 6-7 months. When, not if, we get a trade deal done, the market will see a rip-your-face-off rally, the likes that'll make 2017 look bearish, okay? Now, the other position that I like that ain't really a Captain Kirk trade anymore is EWZ. What's that? That's the Brazilian iShares ETF. Gotta love what's going on. I love Brazil. Love the people. I've been down there a couple times to give some speeches. They elected the Trump of the tropics, right? Bolsonaro, the guy's like, what are we going to do about criminals? We're going to dig more graves. What are we going to do with our economy? The guy's phenomenal. He literally is like drafting behind Trump, and the Bovespa, the Brazilian stock market, is trading like it's going to see a rip, like it's going to be their 2017. So he's a good dude, got elected, and he is like Trump. They either love him down there or they hate him, but the guy seems like he's just going to get the job done. So, in the window that you're looking at this slide on, there's a little camera. You can take a picture of that. But when you become a member, I'm going to go through how to set up January 21 trades on all of these, and we're going to pick one of them today. As I said, XLY, and I'm going to take you through a sample of our full throttle training. So, let's do that real quick. When you become a member, and somebody just bought an annual membership because I just looked at my phone, just buzzed. When you become a member, do me a favor and go underneath member content here, and you see where it says full throttle? We did a full throttle back in, October, November. Get in here and start watching all of these. Go all the way down to, session 1, the basics of options. So if you just dropped in, parachuted in from Mars, and you don't even know what an option is, this is where you need to start. Okay, so where is it? Full throttle session 1, strategic, operational, tactical, trade planning. I tell you where I get my intelligence sources. Then we move up to options basics. This is a call. This is a put. This is the market. This is the basic blocking and tackling. So we take a building block approach. So if you have no idea what an option is, guess what? You start right here. And I built this training program, folks, just like Navy flight training. I remember showing up to flight school. I had like 8, 9 guys in my class. One guy, his first flight on an airplane was to flight school. He lived in like Montana, never even seen an airplane. And then I also had a buddy who had 6,000 hours. He was flying Learjets in the corporate world, and he wanted to come serve his country. The Navy flight program it took the dude who's never even seen an airplane before, and in a short amount of time turned him into a steely-eyed fighter pilot. That's what I'm going to do with you. Matter of fact, the guy that had 6,000 hours almost washed out of Navy flight training because what? That wasn't the way he was taught to fly a different way than the Navy was going to teach them. But we take a building block approach. The other thing you need to do as soon as you become a member is go to the materials tab and download all your flight manuals here, man. The options pocket checklist, which you guys already have access to, and then primary, intermediate, and advanced workbooks. You download these, you go sit on the beach in front of the fireplace, you start reading these. Even if you don't know what some of the words mean, read it. I used to sit on the train from Naperville into Chicago. I would read the Wall Street Journal every day. I didn't understand half of it. Through osmosis, you just keep reading and keep reading and keep reading. This stuff's going to make sense. Okay. All right. So that's what that's what happens when you get on board. Like I said, tomorrow, somebody already, a couple people already purchased. If you're not, if you're a political science major like me, you might be able to figure out that when you click on that green button, because my techies forgot to take that down, you can start working on getting your slot. But formally, I'm going to open up the slots tomorrow. Okay, here we go. So that's a little bit of an intro, and let's go ahead and get airborne, because what I want to do today, and I very rarely do any sort of brief without covering some real world stuff first. Folks, this is, I said this yesterday, I haven't mentioned this word in a while, Iran. Things are about to get real with Iran, folks. The president just ordered the Stennis battle group to the Persian Gulf. Why? Look at this. Europeans fume over Tehran's missile test. These indignant limousine liberal Euro folks are going, oh my God, we can't believe Iran launched a ballistic missile that can carry a nuke in violation of the agreement. Are you people that stupid? I mean, it's crazy. So all the European leaders that believed Iran are stomping their feet like, we can't believe this happened. Come on, man, pull this leg. It plays jingle bells. It is about to get ugly in the Middle East. So. The president, so again, liberals frothing at the mouth a year ago. Rocket Man, I'm going to vaporize North Korea. Fire and fury, I'm going to rain down on that dude. Oh my God, Trump's going to get us all killed. A year later, he's meeting with the dude in Singapore, shaking hands and essentially ending the Korean War and getting peace on the Korean Peninsula. Oh my God, he's meeting with a dictator. Pick your stupidity, folks. Same thing is going to happen here. So cream of some young guy, the North Korean leader, he wants to live. The dude was educated in England or Sweden or whatever. The guy likes his drugs. He likes his women. The dude wants to live. These guys don't. I told you yesterday to Google this when you get a second. The 12th Imam. Iran believes it is their role, and if you read, my call sign is Wiz, not Nostradamus. If you read some Nostradamus, guess what? It's Iran, folks, and this is where the more or less the end of the world is going to happen. Google the 12th Imam and see what the Iranian mullahs believe it's their job to do. So this is going to get ugly. So we have got to be hedged and keep an eye on something like this. Global stocks fall as hopes for trade plan truce fade. What did I tell you, man? And I was texting with my coaching clients over the weekend. I'm like, don't believe futures are up 1,000 points, Wiz. I'm like, sell into it. We are going lower, guys. We did not find support in this October route. That was not support. And that rally, I said, sell into this one too. We are looking at essentially what is and I'm not some super chartist, but this is we didn't even get back up to these, November highs, guys. We didn't maybe tried to hit it and imploded. Now I know the futures are up a little bit because the president's, tweeting, and maybe I'm naive, but I believe Xi and, the Chinese at least said there is a time frame for, the agreement, because leaving, Trump had all this, done, all this stuff's done, they're doing this stuff. And the Chinese were like, dude, we didn't even agree to some 90-day thing. But yeah, so not to sound naive or anything, but Trump says he believes China's every word on trade truce. Okay, man, that just reads wrong. But the president has two China hawks in charge of negotiations. He booted Steve Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary, and he booted Larry Kudlow. Now he's got Peter Navarro and Leitzinger in here to run China negotiations. These are China hawks, guys. This thing is not over. It hasn't even started yet. Remember, I'm a military guy. People calling this a trade truce, they're stupid. They have zero military experience. A truce means we stop firing at each other. We haven't stopped. All the president has said is I'm not going to hit you harder. We're still punching China in the face, and they're punching back. But we've just said we're not going to hit harder, folks. Goldman Sachs came out yesterday with a report that said the odds of a deal in the next 3 months are 20%. I'd say that's high. I think it's not even close. So here we are with this. We're left with it's now up to President Trump to rescue the stock market from ending 2018 in the red. Why? Well, because the Fed didn't really do anything last week. All they did was confuse us more. We all know the reason for the October market rout right here was Jerome Powell, the Fed, going, we're not even close to neutral on interest rates. Holy crap. Then what did he say the other day? Well, we're kind of close to neutral. Dude, figure out what you're saying, man. Okay. Now, the other thing that's starting to worry the market is what? The bond market, the treasury yields inverting, all that stuff. My buddy Jeffrey Gunlock. So Jeffrey Gunlock has followed me on two of my major career announcements. I said Trump would win and the market would rally. 2 months later, Gunlock said the same thing. A year ago, I said, tech, get out of it. Facebook, Twitter, Apple, these things suck. Get out of them. 3 months later, Jeffrey Gunlock says, get out of these things. I'm short as hell on Facebook. But now, he's a bond guy. He says the yield curve inversion means what? The economy's set to weaken, but we're already seeing cracks. How about the housing market? I briefed you on the housing market last week. Housing market's imploding. We're starting to see and we laughed about this yesterday, hedge funds are ditching big tech names as sector gets slammed. Hedge funds, guys, now, a year after I made my call and we shorted the hell out of these things, now hedge funds are starting to say tech sucks and get out. So real quick, kind of strategic and operational brief. Trump admin targets Amazon and other e-commerce sites with postal reforms. So here's what we're going to do. Quick intelligence brief because we can't really do any sort of targeting without our intelligence, right? So now what I want to do is I want to introduce you to a tactic, and this is kind of the middle of the road. Actually, this is towards the end of full throttle training. So again, if yesterday I used the term, if you didn't feel like you were drinking from a fire hose, I didn't do my job. A little bit of that today. So if you're new to options, just hang with me and trust me that you're going to learn this stuff and you're going to be a Jedi Master soon enough, because what I want to do is introduce a tactic to you called synthetic stock. Now, if I wanted to buy 1,000, this is called the XLY. This is the Spider ETF for consumer discretionary. Well, why do you want to trade that? Well, let's take a look at what is in the XLY. What's in the XLY? Right at the top, baby. What's it say? Amazon. 21.51% of this ETF is Amazon. Now look at the rest. Home Depot, MacD's, can't stand Nike, limousine liberal company, will never shop there again. I shop at Under Armour, but whatever. Booking Holdings, Starbucks, and another one you can keep. Lowe's, TJK, General Motors, you can kiss my ass. General Motors takes, $11 billion bailout and closes U.S. plants and takes them overseas. Yeah. And Target. The reason I really like XLY for a long-term trade is because of Amazon. As I said, if we were going to sit here and do a synthetic stock trade on Amazon, it would be probably a lot of our model portfolio. So instead of using Amazon, XLY is a good proxy for Amazon. So I'm going to bring up the XLY. And let's pull up our options chain. Okay, so this is Options House. I use it's E-Trade by Options House. Like I said, I wrote this name on the whiteboard, folks, when we were brainstorming names. I actually helped pick that name. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to introduce you to a tactic where you can be bipolar, and so can I. In essence, using options, we can hop in our Super Hornet and fly all the way out here to January of 2021 and be bullish. Wiz, I think by January 21, the consumer discretionary sector is through the roof, and Amazon too. Amazon's the Death Star, folks. It ain't. I really don't see the president jumping in with his size whatever boots and antitrust and all that stuff. So I'm very long-term bullish on Amazon, very long-term bullish on consumer discretionary. Now here, before we place any trade, what do? I look at threats. What is going to potentially reach out and knock us out and lose money? If we do enter a recession, folks, the Federal Reserve in this country, in the history of the Federal Reserve, has never really engineered a, quote, soft landing. It's always been pretty damn hard. If you've been a member here for a couple years, I was furious with Ben Bernanke and Janet Yellen, keeping interest rates near zero for Barack Hussein Obama. And at the height of the financial everybody remember the term QE, quantitative easing? Ben Bernanke was pumping $85 billion into Obama's stock market and the economy. My 10-year-old daughter Keely could have an up market and a somewhat average economy with the Fed near zero and pumping money into it. So the president was right to tar the Fed for this market volatility. Why? Because the Fed said, you know what? We're going to start raising the hell out of interest rates. And what happened? Remember this little wizism. When interest rates are high, stocks will die. When interest rates are low, stocks will grow. So under a low interest rate environment, man, we've seen this massive bull market. 5-year run, really good run. Now what are we seeing? The Fed's saying, last call, man. We're going to raise rates and get back to doing our job. Well, guess what, Mr. or Mrs. Fed? The market ain't used to you doing your job. They actually don't believe you. You know, if the Fed's mandates are full employment and inflation, that's the first. And the second, the unwritten number 3 that the Fed is what? Supporting equity prices in the stock market, right? So why did I go off on that little bit of a rant? Because I always want to point out threats, right? We could enter a recession and people start getting tight. I got to be honest with you. Even when things are economically bad, people are still ordering crap through Amazon. People are still going to Target, right? When a woman says she's running errands, she's standing in Target for 45 minutes smelling scented candles. Nike, even though I can't stand them, I will never support them. People are still going to be buying workout clothes. So the threat to this trade is an economic slowdown, but I just don't. I don't see a full-blown massive recession. We've talked over the past couple of days and the past couple of weeks about the Santa Claus rally, right? XRT, for example. The XRT is the retail ETF. I've been doing this for 26 years, a quarter of a century. I did the math the other day, like 23 out of 26 years, everything in this retail space is going up. November, December, it does this, and then it sells off just before earnings. All the retailers, right? They underpromise. Oh my God, it's going to be an awful Christmas. Nobody's happy. Nobody has any money. And then they overdeliver. Guess what happened this year? We remember the Target CEO earnings. The dude could not have been more bullish. He's like, I've been doing this for ages. I haven't seen a more great economy. Trump tax cuts put more money in people's pockets. I'm doing consulting with companies that are giving out Christmas bonuses for the first time in their history. Massive. This is the best, and we saw the Thanksgiving numbers, Black Friday, Cyber Monday numbers, disgustingly good. What happened? Sold off, and we're down here. So again, if I'm trying to scare you, I'm not doing that. You just have to, as a fighter pilot, as a trader, I don't sit here and just look at sunshine and lollipops and think everything's going to be great, right? We contingency plan. So the risk to this trade is that we enter a recession and the XLY at least flattens out. But I'm going to show you with this tactic how we can make money each week or each month, even as this long position sitting here, okay? So this tactic I'm going to introduce to you is called synthetic stock. If I wanted to buy 1,000 shares, let me get back to the XLY. 1,000 shares, of the XLY today, I'd need what, 105,000, whatever it is. It's a lot of money. How about we don't buy 1,000 shares of this? Why don't we do what is called synthetic stock? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to, let me put my glasses on here. So the term synthetic, I understand if I bought stock or bought this ETF, that makes sense to me. I'm used to that, right? I'm used to synthetic stock or regular stock, okay? So synthetic stock, all that simply means, guys, is you don't own the actual shares, right? Synthetic stock means two things. You don't get a dividend. I really don't care because I'm not a big dividend trader. And you don't get to vote. Okay, who cares? I think the times that I've owned stock in my life, whenever I've gotten one of those things in the mail, like a vote for this, or it goes in recycling, folks. Carl, your little vote as a shareholder, it means nothing. So anyway, so synthetic stock means you don't get the vote and you don't get a dividend. Don't care. But the position I'm going to show you right now acts exactly as if you were long the stock. But instead of coming out of the pocket $106,000 to be long 1,000 shares, it's going to be a fraction of that. And I love this tactic because people who are brand new to options, they know what stocks are or trade stocks. They're like, where have you been all my life? Why haven't I been doing this instead of owning stock? And I say, welcome aboard Top Gun Options. Here we go. So now I clicked on January 21. These are the different expirations, right? An option is a contract. You deal with contracts every day, man. House, boat, lease, whatever. It's got a date, right? And it's got a price. So I'm going to go out to January of 20. Here's the other reason why I fly in my time machine is I give this trade as much time to work as possible. For example, some of my Jan 19 and Jan 20s right now are getting pounded a little bit, but guess what? The Jan 20s still got another year for this thing to work out. This one's got even more time. So I fly as far out in time as I can, and then I take a look. If you're bullish, here's just options 101. If you're bullish, you probably know that you can buy some calls, right? Wiz, I'm going to buy 10 of the Jan 21 106 calls. That means I am bullish on this thing going up. Also, selling a put. So on the left side of the screen are calls, on the right side is puts. And again, you're going to get all this academic training. If you don't know what a call is or a put is, I'm going to train you. But if we sell a put, you're also bullish. So let me sell, and I go right at the money. Another term you're going to learn in your training. Right now, or yesterday, when the market closed, the XLY closed at 106.05. If you look at the strikes here, there's not a 106.05 strike. So I go to the closest in the money. So it's the 106 strike. So buying the Jan 21 106 call and selling the Jan 21 106 put creates a position. Just look at the picture here. Long stock. If you've ever bought stock, you know that this is called a P&L diagram, profit and loss. If the XLY goes up $1 tomorrow, you go up $1. It's a 1-for-1 change, right? This is long stock. It doesn't get any more basic than that picture. See that blue line right there? That is the current price at the close yesterday of XLY. And if it goes up, it goes up. If not, so this is synthetic stock. Right there on the screen, it's called synthetic stock. So let's take a look at some stuff, though. All right, Wiz. So this says estimated amount you will spend is $32.70. So out of pocket, right? But and this is one of the reasons I love this E-Trade platform. I'm going to click on the snapshot analysis tab right here. Okay, on the count of 3, and I'm going to turn into a Catholic nun. It's not going to be a pretty visual. Why? Because I want you to look at one place and one place only, and it's going to be a sad face. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Look right here. Holy crap, man! Max potential loss is 110 grand. Yeah, I wanted you to look here first for a reason. First of all, I want to train you to do that. What's the probability of losing that money? 0.00. There's probably a 1 all the way out on this decimal point somewhere. But what is the risk in this trade? Well, the risk is what? It's just like being long this ETF. It's the ETF going to 0. Can the XLY go to 0? Of course it can. Will it? No. If the XLY is at 0, we in the middle of something horrific happened. All those companies in the XLY are at 0. So it's physically impossible for this thing to go. I'm not going to say that. It is possible for this to go to 0, but it's infinitesimal. Okay? So let's use our thinking brain. Well, man, I don't want to risk that much money. Even though I'm coming out of pocket $32.70, I don't want to risk that. Well, again, I'm going to teach you when you get on board. We could purchase what I call a protective put. If this is, if the risk to this trade is the XLY imploding and going to 0, how do I tell the options house risk department? Because we can't pick up even though I helped start the place, I can't pick up the phone and go, hey guys, it's Wiz. What's up, Wiz? Come on, man. You know the XLY ain't going to 0. Don't margin me. Don't show that as my max potential loss. Click. This is all automated, folks. Obviously, it's all computerized. So what we can do is add what I call a protective put. So let me that's a put. What is a protective put? And I also call it a disaster put. Well, what would be a disaster, folks? Most people define a bear market or a bear, stocks in bearish territory as what? A decrease of 20%. So that's a nice, good rule of thumb. I'm going to teach you all this as my SOP. I'm just going to round down and say that's $100. What's that? 20 would be, what's that? 80. Okay, that was just quick mental math. I place my disaster put about 20% below the stock price. That makes sense, right? If, God forbid, the stock, ETF in this case, implodes 20%, we are protected. So let's buy the Jan 21, what did I say, 80 puts. Whoop, hang on. Stupid mouse. All right. Now let's take a look at this trade. So our expense coming out of pocket just went up a little bit, right? Well, of course it did. You just bought some insurance, Wiz. Absolutely. I never flew in combat or even peacetime or any mission without an ejection seat. So the risk in the previous example was 110 grand. 3, 2, 1, 32 grand. Whoa, and look at what happened to the picture. Instead of the XLY potentially going to 0, we pull out of our nosedive here because we put on some disaster put right there. Now, that's still a little north of, I'm going to teach you my SOPs. I usually don't want to risk more than 5 grand on any one trade. I usually go a little higher for my further out trades. So what could we do? Well, you know what? Let's maybe trade half the amount of contracts. 5 contracts would be, you ready for it? Half the risk. Yeah, that's right. So risking about 16 grand. That's your max potential loss. Coming out of pocket about $3,200. This is essentially, like I said, the main reason I'm doing the XLY here, guys, is because of Amazon. If after this webinar is over, do me a favor, do yourself a favor, go try and do this tactic with Amazon, and you're going to see that even doing one contract, is a ton of money. So, James, exactly. So here's how you create synthetic stock. Think about it intuitively. When you buy a call, you're bullish. That's like options 101. I'm buying some call options, Wiz. I'm bullish. You got it. Well, if buying a call is bullish, then also selling a put is bullish. And again, if you're sitting here going, dude, I don't even know what the hell a put is, I'm going to teach you. Buying a call, selling a put with the same expiration and same strike gives you synthetic stock. I just added a disaster put to lower our risk. Now check out what I'm going to do. So I'm long-term bullish on XLY, folks, right? But look at this chart, man. I'm short-term neutral to kind of bearish. We imploded yesterday. I mean, everything imploded yesterday, as we predicted. But I'm sure, I just don't, what's today? December 5th? That if the Santa Claus rally, quote unquote, is going to happen, it needed to happen. We're not going to get one this year, folks. And by the time the Santa Claus rally should have happened, people are going to be talking about year-end tax selling. And taking a look at the absolute shit show in the past couple months, there's going to be a lot of tax loss selling before, hint, my birthday, December 31st. So I'm short-term neutral to bearish on XLY. I can make some money by being short-term bearish. You know how? I'm going to add another, we call these legs, right? Each one of these is an individual leg of the trade. But I'm going to do something calling selling a front month. What's a front month, Wiz? You're sitting in it. The front months are December, December. These are the front months. These are the back months, right? So what I could do is sell a front month upside call. Whenever you sell something, this is intuitive, right? When you sell your house, a car, a boat, you bring in money. So what I could do is sell some front month upside meaning north of where the ETF currently is, calls. Why don't we take a look at, it looks like 110, we kind of peaked out. We've got through 110 and it was kind of resistance. We got through it again, it's resistance. So this 110 strike, let's take a look. And I'd go out a couple weeks. I'm going to add option, sell, make sure I got the same amount of contracts, 5 of the front month. I just don't see the Santa rally here, guys. So let's sell the December 28th See, these are all the back months. This is the front month. 110 calls. Okay. Now look at how much we're spending. I took this trade from being out of pocket, 32. I've whittled this down. Now we're only coming out of pocket $710. Isn't that awesome? I'm sorry, call. That was wrong. That was a little too cheap. Selling, that was a put here, guys. That was my mistake. It's supposed to be a call. Selling 5 of the Dees 28 110 calls. That's me saying, hey, XLY, I don't think you're going to be above $110 by December 28th. Okay. Now, instead of being out of pocket 32, whatever it was, $3,200, $3,240, now we're only out of pocket. Why? Because like I said, when you sell something, you bring in a credit. So check this out. The max risk in this trade is 15 grand. We can potentially make 2 grand if by December 28th, this is trading below 110. Hold on, within the next 2 weeks, I could bring in 2 grand. Yep. And I'll talk about what to do if it's above 110, but this looks pretty damn good. And what am I going to do after this? So let's say on December 28th, the XLY is trading below 110. I keep that 2 grand. And you know what Uncle Wiz is going to do? I'm going to go out and sell more upside calls. Think of like an option, an options wheel, or like this, there's a hill. This trade, I just want to keep selling front month upside calls and bringing in some premium. So this trade's cool because you know how we make money? We will make money 2 ways. We make money if the XLY goes up between now and December 20th. We want it to, right? That's why we're long-term bullish, man. We want it to go up over time. So we make money with our underlying synthetic stock going up, and we're also making money now on that little short call that we sold. Isn't that cool? So I have essentially 2 strategic mindsets in this trade. Long-term bullish all the way out to January of 21, and short-term neutral to bearish. And I'm going to, in the training, guys, again, we're going to start training with this is the market, this is a call, this is a put. So if this is a little, like you're staring at the screen, I call it the drool cup. If you're drooling right now, don't worry about it. Because when we do this synthetic stock lecture, I take an hour and a half just on this tactic. Because it's beautiful. It is. This is a phenomenal tactic. So during the life of this trade, man, we're going to keep selling calls unless something gets on a tear. What do I mean by that? I'll teach you my rule of thumbs. If a stock is trading sideways like this, I tend to sell front month upside calls that are 2.5 to 5% out of the money above where the stock currently is. What if something's on, I call this, well, now let me do the tear. If something's on a tear, join it or get out of the way. What do I mean by that? Don't sell upside calls. If the thing's on a tear, man, you're printing money. So if something's sideways, sell those upside calls 2.5 to 5% out of the money. Something's on a tear, get out of the way. Put your boots on the table, put your hands behind your head, and smile as you print money. Now, the in-between, let me see if I can find like a good climb schedule. Yeah, so this, whoa, hang on. So this and this, let me hit that chart again, 6 months. This and this are tears. That's what I call a tear, man. That's a rip your face off rally. This right here would kind of be a gentle climb schedule. Here's my rule of thumb for selling front month upside calls that are kind of with the stock gently climbing. 7.5 to 10% above the current price. Why? Well, the thing's on a little bit of a climb, man. I want to give myself a little bit of cushion with these upside calls. As I said, if the thing levels off, 2.5 to 5%. Tear, get out of the way. Now, I know that's a little fire hose-ish, but the best way to learn how to do this is by doing it. And obviously open a paper trading account and hitting the simulator, so to speak, before we do any of this stuff. So, James, I'm not sure how they build it on that brokerage platform. This is why I like E-Trade, man. This is very cavemanish. This is very, very user friendly. So you probably just pick up the phone and call that broker. But what you're looking at on the screen right now is called, essentially, you just got long the XLY for 2 years. I mean, we can get out of this whenever we want. If most of our long call diagonals, I have some Jan 19s getting ready to close that I put on 2 years ago that are up $70,000, $80,000 in a single trade, guys. Why? Wiz, how do you do that? Because over time, things tend to go up, right? And over time, we're going to keep selling these front month calls, bringing in coins. So we're making money selling front month upside calls, and we're making money, hopefully, with the XLY going up. This trade is freaking phenomenal. And these are usually the positions that we have on in our accelerated retirement portfolio. Will the settings be the same on any exchange? I have Thinkorswim. Kerry, you mean broker? I don't know. I'm not a Thinkorswim guy. I know Tom Sosnoff. We were going to either buy or partner with Thinkorswim back in the day. So I use E-Trade just because it's very, very intuitive platform here. Now let's contingency plan. All right, Wiz, that was all sunshine and lollipops. What if by December 28th, it's trading above 110? First of all, I want you to congratulate yourself. Well, what are you talking about? These calls are in the money. You were right. What do you mean I was right? Well, you were right because the XLY went up, right? Congratulate yourself. You're making money. This trade up here, these legs are printing money as XLY goes up. But let's say it's at 111 on December 28th. You know what you're going to do? Close these. And now let me tell you, kind of like the hedge discussion we had yesterday, like if you look at a hedge as losing money, you're not going to be a good trader. Let me say this to you. If you, on December 28th, go, oh my God, Wiz, it's up at 111. I'm losing $200 on these short calls. I want you to give me 50 push-ups because that's the dumbest way to look at it. Yeah, these calls might be showing a negative. What did this do? You make more money. Listen to me, guys. If it is above 110, all you do, first of all, you just close it. We sold these to open, you buy them to close. Or you go out and you write the January, whatever expiration calls. You just write them higher. But listen to me, folks. If you're the type that sits there and says, "Oh my God, I lost $200 on these calls," I'm spitballing, guys. I don't know. You make more money on your synthetic stock going up than you quote lose. So look at it this way. Let's say your synthetic stock position's up $1,000, and then you quote lose $200 on these calls. You need to be the person that says, shit hot, man, I'm $800 so far in this trade. If you're the type of person that's going to go ape shit that you lost $200 because you could have just made $1,000, you're an idiot. You are going to blow out. You're not a good trader. This is the discipline that I'm going to teach you here at Top Gun Options. Okay? So all you do and we'll know before, guys. I usually don't wait until December 28th to see. I watch these every day. But if the XLY gets on, for whatever reason, tomorrow the president, deal with China, and this thing rips your face off rally, just close those calls and enjoy the ride. Thanks, Steve. No, I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of nice comments in the chat box and everything like this. And again, I'm beating a dead horse here, but if you're still learning what a call and a put is, we're going to get there. I just wanted to pick a tactic today because with the market closed and we can take some time to talk about it. The XLY is where you want to be. Amazon would just be like cost prohibitive to do synthetic stock on. Anthony, you can absolutely do that. I just didn't want to super muddy the waters, Anthony, but you can absolutely sell a front month put. You got it, man. I like the way you think. Ed, what if the XLY goes down? Can the protective put? So Ed, here's what's interesting is recently some of our longer dated positions with this clown car, the protective puts have been what? Profitable. They serve their purpose. You know what I've done recently on some of my protective puts? I've closed them, taken the profit, and added more to the to the long. So guys, where's our sector targeting here? You only want to do this type of tactic, very, very long-term bullish, on something you know is going to be around in a couple years. Let's go through. This is why we have these. Amazon and XLY. Not everything on this screen is not only going to be here, it's going to be higher, in my opinion. Okay, so, and I said the exchange, the CME is printing money, and this is the. Let me segue real quick. This is the new normal, ladies and gentlemen. This is it. You got the Fed, you got retail, you got Iran, you got this, you blah, blah. This is the new normal, man, is volatile stock market. And with that, actually, volatility is going to go down. And that's a different discussion. Maybe we'll talk about that tomorrow. But people are like, oh my God, the VIX. Yesterday, folks, the VIX should have been a hell of a lot higher than it was. It wasn't. This, and the VIX, in case you don't know, is what we call the volatility index, right? The talking heads in the market like to call it the fear gauge. That's a pretty big move in the VIX, 26%. I get it. But look at the recent highs in the VIX. We got a lot. This is one of the reasons I'm telling you we ain't at a bottom yet. We have not finished selling. Bottoms are usually defined as what? And I'm going to tell you that a lot of phone calls yesterday. Some institutional traders are starting to step in. We will not get a bottom. In my opinion, we retest these October lows. This wasn't a bottom, guys. That was Black Friday, or no, it was the day after Thanksgiving Friday. Market was a half a day. That does not make a base. This is a triple top, double bottom. We are going right back down to here. I want to be wrong, obviously, right? I wouldn't mind being wrong, but you have absolutely got to be prepared for that, right? Selling the front month put, we'll naked. We have to do it as vertical. Yeah, Anthony, what I do. So this is, you're going to learn when you become a member here. This is what your portfolio should look like. And my doctor buddy up in Boca Raton, when he showed me his portfolio that one day, he had 33 positions. I had agita, man. I had to go take a clonazepam. I'm like, are you high? A retail trader should have no more than 5 to 10 positions. Professional, 15, 20-ish. So Anthony, what I do is I'll put on this Jan 21 XLY, sell front month upside calls, and also bull or bear spreads. So technically, man, there's 3 trades right there. Well, let's just say 2. So I stay in my lane. Why would you be trading anything else but these? If, like, for example, Raytheon, we have very long-term bullish. We just closed a trade yesterday for $1,800 in a week. Bearish on Raytheon. So I call it staying in my lane. I'm going to teach you to get bullish in all of these sectors with these names and just trade the front months with these names. Every once in a while, Anthony, we'll do what I call a foray, right? A foray can't be good. World War II wasn't a foray. This is World War II on the screen. A foray would be a Vietnam or a Korea. A foray would be me a couple months ago taking a couple quick strike trades, shorting Tesla or Facebook. Just know that if you're doing a foray, you identify it as that. Does that make sense? Correct. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Angie, today, North Sea market. I don't think we go. The futures right now are indicating a little bit of a. It's not going to be as bloody tomorrow, but folks, I'm telling you, this is not done. I have nailed every one. Hang on, let me pull this up. We've nailed every one of these. This is why yesterday. Hopefully you attended yesterday's session. If you didn't, you have absolutely got to watch the replay on this page because I talked about getting your hedges on. Okay, we are going lower. We have got to retest this October low. And here's the best thing about being an options trader is we're going to make money with this thing going lower with bear call spreads or selling those upside calls or buying puts. We're going to, as an options trader, guys, we don't care whether the market's going up, down, or sideways. We can potentially profit in any market condition. So you asked me about the next 2 days. What are the futures doing right now? So the futures are green. Okay, but I mean, I'd expect a little bit of that after yesterday, but by no means there is no way on God's green earth the all clear sounded. I said this with each pullback. I'm like, this is not the all clear. Markets don't go straight up like this. Markets take an escalator up and they take the window down. I know a lot of my members have been making some good money in each one of these pops. I'm like, short the hell out of it, man. Lower highs. So Angie, we might get a little bit of a relief rally tomorrow. You know, getting a Wednesday off in the middle of the week is I've almost never seen. So I think this was a good day for the market to take off, so it can kind of reassess what's going on. Okay. Harmet, what trigger will you use to place the bearish trade? Which bearish trade? If you're talking about the overall market, we covered that yesterday. I already have a bunch of previously existing hedges on, but make sure you watch yesterday's replay to talk about the hedge. Carrie, I need to learn how to protect and make money on MU. My mom was employee number 24 at Micron. Wow. And our retirement is losing money and she won't sell. Carrie, that's heartbreaking. I'll teach you how to do that. Selling those upside calls, placing bearish spreads or bullish spreads, just depending on what's going on. Okay, so you'll absolutely learn how to do that. Win, how do we get yesterday's replay? It is on the screen. Everybody look in the chat box right now. I'm going to post it again. There's a little chat box over there on the right, your control panel. And today's replay, once I get done squawking here, is going to be posted. I got to jump in a couple minutes because I have coaching sessions the rest of the afternoon. But the replay from yesterday and the welcome aboard brief is now in your little chat box there. So please let me know that you got that. Yep. Well, yeah, Walter, markets take the escalator up, and I said we took the window down. That wasn't even the elevator down. This was the window. We predicted this, though, guys. And I'm telling you right now, if the institutions step in over the next couple days or next week and start selling, this will be the big one. There will be no bottom. The February lows will be broken. So, looking at SDS when the market rallies, I absolutely would be. Well, no. Whoever just said that, I would not be adding SDS as the market rallies. You ready for this? I would be adding SDS. I would be, period. Don't sit here and go, well, when the market goes up a little bit, I'm going to buy some of these, calls as a hedge. No. How do you know it's going to go? The market's going to go up. You don't. Do not try and time your hedges, guys. Get into them now. If you don't believe me, right? And this is a good part about being a Top Gun Options member. If I give you my commit criteria, why I'm committing capital to a trade, and you sit there and go, dude, I could not disagree more with you. Take the other side of the trade. That's the cool thing about options is you can go, no, man, I think you're full of it. Then do the exact. If you don't think we're going to go lower and retest these lows, then get bullish. I think you'd be a fool for all the reasons that I've mentioned. We are going lower and we need to retest here. If we do not hold these October lows, it's look out below. And we will pound the market and our stocks and everything into the dirt and make money. So, Doug watched the replay yesterday I only went out to January 4th. I went to January 4th for the hedges. So, what is SDS? Again, guys, this is all in the replay. I need to split here. It's right here. SDS, guys, is the ProShares ultra short S&P 500. So what does that mean? Ultra short means as the S&P 500 goes down, this goes up. What happened yesterday? The S&P 500 imploded. What did SDS do? It exploded. This does the exact opposite of the S&P 500. So you see this? This is the market imploding, but SDS going up. That's why I use this as a hedge, right? Actually, well, men lie, numbers don't. Let me just show you. Let me overlay. Let me compare SDS with, you ready for it? SPX. And I will show you. There we go. You see this like light green line here? So this is the S&P 500 imploding. This is SDS exploding. This is the S&P 500 recovering. This is SDS imploding. It does the exact opposite. That's why this is a hedge. Ed, I do kind of do that. I throw some hedges on and roll them and do that stuff. For a while there, to be honest with you, Ed, I wasn't doing. First of all the trades we do here at Top Gun Options are hedged. They're spreads, so they're hedged in and of themselves. I talked yesterday about buying some of these just as some portfolio protection. All of our individual trades are hedged. They are protected. I'm looking at SDS just as an overall portfolio hedge. Okay? All right. Hey, really good questions. When you become a member, what you can do is get in the Ready Room. The Ready Room is that place in the fighter squadron. It was our living room, right? We'd hang out there before we'd go flying. After we got back, this is where you meet your fellow your traders. Man, there's been a lot of friendships actually in here. Who's this? John looking at a bearish double vertical on volatility. Rob's talking about some Jan 19 suggestions on when to take profit. XRT, the retail, JP Morgan. So when you become a member, if you have any questions in between the live trading sessions, you can jump in here and post it, and I'll get to it. Or we have a bunch of good folks in the Ready Room here that can answer your questions. And no, again, it sounds trite, but there's no stupid question, man. Especially if you're just getting airborne. Like I said, for all the people who are kind of sneaking in, and if you want to kind of sneak in, so actually. And my phone buzzed a couple times when I was on here, so a couple more people got their slots already. So three more people. Sweet. So officially, we have 47 slots. Officially, tomorrow is when I'm going to open, because I actually wanted to do one more live trade brief just to show you guys. I mean, we spent a good hour and a half, 2 hours together yesterday. We did a little bit of even though the market's closed, a little bit of training here. One more session tomorrow. I'll open the slots tomorrow at the beginning of the session. So, Scott, that's why you don't go longer term with SDS, is because of backwardation and contango. Absolutely. So, but all right, guys, I'll tell you what, I went over by about 6 minutes. Apologize for that, but some very good questions. Make sure you watch the welcome aboard brief on this page and yesterday's live trade brief. You have got to watch yesterday's live trade brief, because I talk about hedging and this SDS trade ad nauseum. Please get in there and watch that. We took a look at Raytheon, we took a look at Amazon, and we took a look at being bearish on China. So check this out. I would absolutely be doing a bearish trades on China. FXI is what we use to get bearish on China. Look at this. For the past 6 months, not SH, FXI. Look at the past 6 months on FXI. This is the iShares China ETF. This thing pops on rumors, good news, trade deal, no trade deal. Look at whatever happens after it pops. It drops. We had this massive pop the other day because the president kind of said, hey, got it huge. Nobody does Buenos Aires better than me. Big pop. What did I do Monday in our members only weekly options brief? I sold a bearish trade that made $2,400 in essentially a half a trading day. This thing's going lower, guys. You want a good bearish trade? Maybe we'll take a look at that tomorrow too. So, Weeslaw, I'm not going to email you the replay, man. For the final time, go here. The link I put in the chat box. It is right there. And I believe I did send an email out yesterday with the replay link as well. So it's really easy to remember, guys. Go.topgunoptions.com/FT. That stands for full throttle replay. And it brought a tear to my eye to hear his son characterize him today. He's like, my dad lived life at 2 settings, full throttle or off. And the pastor said full throttle too today. I was like, that's pretty freaking cool. So the replay is here. Soon it takes, I'm going to go downstairs, get some chow. It takes about 20 to 30 minutes for me to render this recording, and I'll post this on this page here, and I call it an hour. Okay? Yeah, it was pretty funny, Deborah. I'm like, I heard full throttle twice today, and it was at the president's thing. You bet. All right, guys. I'll tell you what. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock, be in here. It's the same link. You'll get a 1 hour reminder with the link before the session. I will see you for Analyze Your Trade and Debrief, and we have some good stuff to talk about tomorrow. Let me take a look at what we're talking about tomorrow. Closing, XRT, our retail trade. We had some FXI, Brazil trades, Visa. We got to talk about Visa. Oh, yeah. Visa, because Visa got hammered too. Well, everything got hammered the other day. Visa is one of our Jan 21 longs, and this thing, hopefully, well, it's up after hours trading. Wow, it's up nice. It's almost up a full point. So I got a bear. I have a bull put spread that expires Friday that we're going to take a look at tomorrow. So thank you, Nicholas. I appreciate it. Appreciate all the kind words, guys. If you're ready to get airborne, you don't want to wait until tomorrow until I open the slots. Here's a little bit of a hint. Use this green button on this page to grab your slot. We only take 50, guys. I apologize if I didn't get to everybody's questions. That's one of the reasons we limit our size here at Top Gun Options, is because as an instructor, it makes my skin crawl leaving a brief with people still having questions outstanding. So Tim, I'm ready. Dude, you've been here, man. You're a veteran. So reminder, on the replay page are your two bonuses for registering. You have got to read this trade plan. So download this trade plan. It's 12 pages. It's a good read. This is how I trade, folks. It's a checklist. I'm an aviator. I'm a trader. You trade with a checklist. If you haven't been trading with a checklist, guess what? It's time to change. And then also the OPCL. Okay. All right, guys, I'm going to get running. Like I said, I'll post the replay here in maybe an hour. I'm going to go grab some chow. I'm going to go do some coaching sessions this afternoon. And then I will see many of you tomorrow at 1 o'clock for Accelerated Retirement. Actually, I got that wrong. We'll probably move the other one to 10 o'clock on Friday, like I said, because I've got to fly up Friday afternoon for Go Army. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, shit. Go Navy beat Army. Now I have to go do 50 push-ups. All right, guys. Have a great rest of your day. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge, and God bless, and I'll see many of you guys tomorrow. And welcome aboard to all of our new Full Throttle members that are kind of sneaking in the door, so to speak. I will talk to you guys later. Cheers.